Hey, my lovely friends, let's learn more vocabulary with the Four Horsemen conversation. I know you're very knowledgeable, but I'll still be happy if you learn one or two words with my video lesson. Let's do this.
Well, I try to demonstrate this cast of mind in, I think, a very long endnote in the End of Faith, where I say,
Okay, let's talk about the gorgeous phrase, cast of mind, which means a mental tendency. So, for example, some people ask a ton of questions. They don't believe things that easily. They have a skeptical cast of mind. It is a seemingly simple phrase, but what percentage of people use this beautiful phrase? I want you to go ahead and use it in your everyday discussion. So we pronounce this word, cast of mind.
any text can be read. Well, with the eyes of faith, you can make magical prescience out of any text. So
Let's talk about the word prescience with stress on the first part. This is a fact that is known prior to something else, in advance of something else. It's kind of like foreknowledge, F-O-R-E. So what is Sam saying here? He's saying that you can look at any text and interpret the information as if it contains some sort of magical data, maybe something that we haven't discovered yet in science.
I literally walked into a bookstore, the cookbook aisle of a bookstore, randomly opened a cookbook, found a recipe for I think it was seared shrimp with Ogo relish or something, and then came up with a mystical interpretation of the recipe. And you can do it. I mean, you can connect the dots with any crazy text.
Well,
and find wisdom in it.
Michael Shermer did it with the Bible code.
Right, I haven't seen that.
The hidden messages in the Bible.
Yeah.
Very, very good. You can write yesterday's headlines from it.
Right.
And
You could write yesterday's headlines by just reading what this person has written in his book. So they have interpreted the words that were used in a holy book as if they contained information about the future, about yesterday's news.
anytime you like, yeah.
I have a question for the three of you. Is there any argument for faith, any challenge to your atheism that has given you pause?
If something gives you pause, it makes you think deeply. A good word to learn here is deliberate. So has someone asked you a question that has forced you to deliberate the matter? Has someone asked you something that has genuinely challenged your atheism?
That has sent you back on your heels, where you felt you didn't have a ready answer, etc.?
I actually can't think of any.
I mean, I think the closest is the idea that the fundamental constants of the universe are too good to be true, and that does seem to me to need some kind of explanation if it's true. I mean, Victor Stenger doesn't think it is true.
Okay, the fundamental constants of the universe, things like the speed of light that have very specific, finely tuned values.
But many physicists do. I don't think, I mean, it certainly doesn't in any way suggest to me a creative intelligence, because you're still left with the problem of explaining where that came from.
Right.
And a creative intelligence who's sufficiently creative and intelligent enough to fine-tune the constants of the universe to give rise to us has got to be a lot more fine-tuned himself than...
Why create all the other planets in our solar system dead?
Well, that's a separate question.
Yeah, say, well, if it was that good.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
Bishop Montefiore was very good at this, was a former friend of mine, and say that you have to marvel at the conditions of life and the knife edge on which they are. So it is a knife edge, yes. Our planet is, a lot of it too hot or too cold.
Right.
It's on a climate, the other planets are
yeah.
completely too hot or too cold to support life. And that's just one solar system, the only one we know about where there is life. Not much of a designer. And of course you can't get out of the infinite regress.
You can't get out of the infinite regress. Now, let's talk about the verb first, regress, which means to go back. The noun is regress with stress on the first part. Infinite regress, what are they talking about? So if we assume that the universe has a creator, you can always ask yourself this question. So who created that creator? All right, and if you came up with an answer, then you could ask yourself this question again and again and again. And this is infinite regress. It's kind of like taking steps backwards at infinitum.
But I've not come across a single persuasive argument of that kind. But I wouldn't have expected to, because as I realized when I thought one evening, they never come up with anything new, well, why would they? Their arguments are very old by definition. And they were all evolved when we knew very, very little about the natural order. The only argument that I find at all attractive, and this is for faith, you asked, as well as for theism, is what I suppose I'd call the Apotropaic. When people say...
Okay, let's talk about the word apotropaic. This is an advanced word. Not many people know this word. Apotropaic. This is an adjective meaning averting evil, right? Getting rid of evil. Let's find out more.
all the praise belongs to God for this. He's to be thanked for all this. That is actually a form of modesty. It's a superstitious one. That's why I say apotropaic. But
Right.
it's avoiding hubris.
It's avoiding hubris. I suppose in British English you could pronounce it hubris, which is self-important. So he has a degree of respect for this argument because it comes from a place of modesty, right? It does not promote hubris or self-importance. I hope you've learned at least one or two words with my video.